So we're going to try a law of cosines. And I know that this is going to be a law of cosines because I have three sides that are given. So anytime you have a triangle that falls into that side case, definitely going for law of cosines. Okay, so I'm going to label this A, B, C, and really it doesn't matter how you want to label this one. So here's angle A, so I know side A is here. Angle B, so I know side B is here. Angle C, so side C is across from it. Okay, so we're going to do a law of cosines, and I'm going to start, and again, you can use any of these. It really doesn't matter what you want to do. We're solving, so that means I need to find all three angles. Okay, so if I use this guy, so that's saying a squared, so that's saying 9 squared is equal to b squared, which is 7, plus c squared, which is our 5, minus 2 times 7 times 5 times cosine of A. Okay, here's where orders of operations is super important. I cannot combine these with these and just leave cosine out in the dark. These are all being multiplied, right? So the 2, the 7, the 5 is attached to cosine of A. You got to be careful with that. All right, let's simplify all of this. So I have 81 is equal to 49 plus 25 minus, so we have 2 times 7 times 5, so that's going to get you 70 cosine of A. Okay, orders of operations would say, if I'm trying to solve for this, I want to get all of this stuff away. All right, so you could either add and then subtract, or just think you have to subtract over the 49, subtract over the 25. Okay, so we have 81 minus 49 minus 25, and that gives us 7. Watch your signs here. See how that's a minus 70? Don't drop that negative. So minus 70 cosine of A. Okay, so solving for cosine of A, now I can divide through by negative 70. So I have cosine of A is equal to 7 over negative 70, so negative, negative 0.1, or I could say it's negative 1 over 10, up to you. So I'm going to have here negative 0.1. And now when I do my inverse cosine, because I'm trying to find the angle, so inverse cosine of that negative 0.1, I get 95.74. So I can tell you the measure of angle A is going to be 95.74. Okay. Now, I know at this point you want to think, all right, let's do law of sines. You don't want to do law of sines at this point. If you have started with law of cosines, you need to stay with law of cosines to make sure that you're not getting a reference angle that's actually not going to be used in the triangle. That's what your law of sines would produce, is basically a reference angle that we don't want. So rule of thumb, if you started with law of cosines, you got to finish the problem with law of cosines. Okay, so we can pick a different angle. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go with, let's try B. So we are going to have b squared, so that's 7 squared, is equal to a squared, which is 9, plus c squared, which is 5, minus 2 times 9 times 5 times cosine of b. Okay, so again, we just got to be careful with orders of operations. Okay. So we have 2 times 9 times 5, so that should get us 90 cosine of B. Okay, and again, I can add and then subtract, or just think, subtract each of these. Okay, so we have 49 minus 81 minus 25, and we get a negative 57. So again, watch your signs, very important here. We still have a negative 90 cosine of B. I want to try and get that by itself, so I need to divide by a negative 90. So now I have cosine of B is equal to, I have negative 57 divided by negative 90. And now I want, so I'll write this down, so we have 0.633 repeating. I want regular, I want my B, my angle B, so I want to think inverse cosine of that answer. And I get 50.70. So measure of angle B is about 50.7. Okay, so we have one more thing to do. We just need to find angle C. So angle C, I want to just take the angles that we now have. So we have 95.74, we have 50.70, and I'm going to subtract those. That's going to leave me with 33.56, and that is angle C. That is your triangle solved. We do not have to look for a second triangle. The reason, the given information, keep in mind what we started with, we had side, side, side. Go back to your days of geometry. That is a way that you can prove triangles congruent. You only get one triangle with side, side, side. So when you're doing law of cosines, start with law of cosines, finish with law of cosines. If you're doing law of cosines, you will only ever get one triangle. You do not need to check for a second triangle.